Hey, welcome to my podcast. My name is Dr. Brendan McCarthy. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Protea Medical Center in Chandler. No, what am I saying? Tempe, Arizona. I slipped. I'm not in Chandler anymore. I'm in Tempe. Anyway, I just moved to this new office. This past few months has been the hugest change in my life. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal. This has been something I'm working to my whole career. And I love my new office. It just means a lot to me. And why I say that is because it's a dream for me to have a facility where I can have all the things in-house that matter to me. We have a movement studio with yoga. We have all this stuff in there. And we're going to have our podcast being videoed there soon. We're still building that out. But it's the kind of space that I can grow in. You know, the previous places I had, it was always a little bit too small. We always grew out of it real quick. This is the first time I've been able to get into a space where I will be able to stay there, permanently, where we can continue growing in that space. It's big enough where I can continue growing. So I'm excited about it. So that's been on my mind. And so I'm not in Chandler anymore. I'm in Tempe. Welcome to the podcast. And I wanted to talk today about men. I know I talk about women, and I know 99% of my followers on Instagram and YouTube and everywhere else wherever your podcasts are sold, or wherever you find your podcasts, or wherever you download them, it's women. Women are my primary viewers. And I want you to know I am, it's not lost on me, the fact that I'm a man speaking about women's health and how humbling that is to me as a man, that you trust me. I know, I want you to know, I am grateful for your trust. I am humbled by it. And I want you to know, I am thankful you give me this opportunity to be in this space, because working with you has been the most rewarding thing in my life. I love my work deeply. The reward for me is the benefit is at the end of the day, the impact the work we have has on women and the change in your lives. And I, as a physician, that reward is profound to me. The benefit of seeing someone better, seeing someone get better, seeing someone become more well, seeing someone return to their lives with less anxiety, or depression, insomnia, seeing someone's fertility be restored. This is the juice, so to speak. This is what gets me. So I usually do my podcast now, geared mostly towards women, but many of you have a man in your life. So this I wanted to bring up, and it was important because I got this email from a patient that I've had for years. I love this guy. He's a very inspiring man, and he's an author, just a very inspiring human being. And he sent me this email, says, "What you think of this?" One of the larger urological clinics in my area has sent out an email blast, marketing blast, saying that they're doing testosterone replacement therapy, and they're advocating for bioidentical, saying now we are now offering bioidentical hormone replacement therapy at our urological institute, and they were just bragging on it. And this thing like, come now and for testosterone replacement therapy with us at your urological institute here in the Valley. And I want you to know, he asked me, he's like, "What is this? And he asked me, he's like, "What is this? Have you seen this?" And why it's so weird is because for the past several decades, urologists in general have been very much against testosterone replacement therapy, very much against it. For the past decades, they've said either don't do it, they're very much advocates against it. And even more so, urologists and just the general medical complex of just the medical institutions around us now have always discounted the concept of what is bioidentical. They never acknowledged that bioidentical is real. So having them advocate, a urological institute in the Valley, a large one, great one, by the way, I refer patients to good urologists there, is now doing bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. One, to say that they're going to do testosterone replacement therapy. And then two, to acknowledge that there's a difference between synthetic and bioidentical is huge. That was not lost on me. For decades, they used to believe that testosterone caused prostate cancer. Since the 1940s, we've been told incorrectly that testosterone causes prostate cancer. And so urologists have always been the first ones to say, don't do this. Don't do testosterone replacement therapy. Keep it low. And that has always been something they advocated for. So seeing this shift on their part was monumental. And it's exciting on my part. And then I read further into the message, and I kind of have some things, and this is why I'm making this episode for you guys. Testosterone replacement therapy for men is critical. We are not healthy without it. We're not well without testosterone. We just aren't as men. And it's important that we do it. It's important we do it right. And the thing is, like, when it's seen as a business model and they're doing this as a business model, it won't be right. I just want you to know that. Anybody who gets into this hormone replacement therapy thing with the idea that it's going to be a business where they're going to make money, you shouldn't do this, because you should never set out in medicine to make money. You should set out in medicine to make people well. That's your only goal. That's it. Everything after that is, how do you keep doing that for people? So build enough in order to be able to keep doing this for people, to build upon it and be constructive and helpful. But you shouldn't do this for making money. Still, the demand for testosterone is high now because men tend to have lower levels of testosterone. It's not 10. Men do have lower testosterone levels now than ever in human history. And our sperm counts are lower. There's a lot of things causing this. There's usually a lot of signs of this. And the primary cause is endocrine disrupting compounds. So men are suffering the most. And now you have these reputable institutes coming out, and they're saying, okay, we'll do testosterone replacement therapy. What I want to say is, if you have this in front of you and you get a marketing thing like this, or you hear about it, I want you to know it's not always a bad thing. It could be a good thing. These are things I want you to watch for. When they advertise this to you, you want to know how they're going to deliver the hormone, because that makes a difference. Just because someone says I'm offering testosterone replacement therapy and they have experience in urology doesn't mean they understand endocrinology. That doesn't mean they don't either, but just be aware of this. This is a leap over for them in what they do. So you want to make sure that they're aware of that and they're going to do a good job. So how would they do that? One is, when you give someone hormones from the outside in, just as with women, when you give men hormones from the outside in, you run the risk of the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of it not being looked at. And what does that mean? When I give you testosterone from the outside in, that's not like your body making it from the inside out. When your testicles are making testosterone, right, they're going to release that at an even rate. That's great. It should do that. If I'm giving it to you from the outside in, no matter what, it's going to create a little surge. Sometimes if I'm doing injectable, it'll be a tighter surge. If it's a pellet, say, that's subdermally implanted, it'll be a longer curve to it. If it's a topical, it'll be a sharp curve with more side effects of downstream metabolites. So you always want to run the labs and understand what the hormone's doing in their body. Your goal is always to keep it in a very tight, safe range, especially with men. The side effect profile of too much testosterone is significant. And too little, there's no benefit. So you want to do it in the right level, and you want to monitor it. So this Urological Institute was advocating for testosterone pellets to be done in men. And I want to tell you, I don't do pellets in men. I used to. I tried a bunch back early on in my practice when I was younger. And, didn't know. I didn't know. So let me say why I didn't know. When you have a man come in and you're going to do pellets with him, you're going to insert, 10 to 16 pellets in him. And these pellets will be inserted every 4 months. And these pellets are about the size of a Tic Tac, little candy, little thing, little guy. But there's, 10 to 16 of them. And even if I do it in a sterile setting, your body still will run the risk of extrusion, where it's going to treat it like a splinter. It's going to kind of pop them out. You're going to lose them. Even sterile, you'll still have your body push it out. It's sore and painful. It's also very expensive to insert pellets like that in men, because there's a lot of pellets you need to do in a sterile procedure. Pellets in men long-term, I've never had it go well. And I mean, just overall, over time, you keep doing it. You keep putting that layer and layer of more and more of these pellets on them. Over time, that tissue, wherever you put it, you move it around different areas of the body, the upper gluteus, or you can do it in the abdomen and the belly fat. If you keep doing this procedure in those areas, that area will over time become increasingly inflamed, because you're going to do it every 4 months. Further, when you're doing pellets, you want to run your labs with some regularity to make sure you're keeping your testosterone, like I said, in the tight range, and making sure you're not making the other metabolites like estrogen, estradiol specifically. And you want to make sure they're not making too much of dihydrotestosterone, which is what causes more pathology. These things are very important. When you go to these clinics that are opening up now, or they're converting over, you want to make sure how they're delivering it to you is something that they're monitoring for specifically. So again, if you're doing pellets, you want to make sure that the area is not becoming inflamed increasingly. And you want to make sure they're testing for downstream metabolites, dihydrotestosterone. You want to make sure they're looking at your estradiol, red blood cell count. You want to make sure they're looking at all those numbers. And PSA, of course, is important to throw in there. And then if you're doing a topical, topicals tend to create too much dihydrotestosterone literally every time. You can't get away with giving a man topical testosterone without making a ton of dihydrotestosterone. It's just one of those things you just have to know. But you want to make sure they're running those labs to verify it. Your health is important. And when you're low in testosterone, we don't want to give you testosterone to cause other problems. We want to give you testosterone and manage all those problems and give you the benefit of it without all the negative things. And I hope that helps. Please like, share, and subscribe. If there's a man that you know that's considering testosterone replacement therapy, I hope this would help them. Make sure you know that these clinics, while they are good at what they're doing currently, if they're taking this on, make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure they're running your labs. Make sure they're monitoring you. Make sure they're giving you a procedure that you can sit with. Literally, if you're doing your glute, make sure you're right, willing to tolerate that, and make sure that you understand the costs long term with it. Thank you again for tuning in. I'll see you at the next episode.